Praful Bohra, Senior Research Analyst, Pharma at Nirmal Bang, joins us right now on the show. Praful, good having you. Thanks for joining in. Before we talk about the fundamental view that you may have on a few stocks, what's happening with Wockhardt and Ranbaxy? Seemingly, everything that had FDA concerns attached to them have rallied the last 2 days.
Well, I'm as clueless as you are, but having said that, so if you take Ranbaxy and Wockhardt, I'm not expecting any sort of a fundamental move in these stocks. So Ranbaxy, Diovan has been expected for a pretty long time now, and I think that would be the only trigger. In Wockhardt, I don't see any major product coming in the near term, and probably, the only trigger which is there in Wockhardt in the near term is probably the approval of Shendra. And from what I learned from my sources is that the inspection is yet to happen at the US FDA inspection is yet to happen at Shendra. So I don't think so. I'm not able to really link both these, the movement in the stock to the fundamentals. But having said that, one common pattern which is noted in all the stocks which have been moving in the last couple of days is, all these have some sort of a problem with the FDA. So probably, you take Wockhardt, Ranbaxy, Strides, Arcolab, all these companies, all these names have some sort of a problem with the FDA. So I think probably someone is expecting, something to come up from that angle. That can be the case, but I really can't link it to the fundamentals. I'm not able to do it.
Awan, you remember Ajay's story yesterday, which spoke about how Glenmark's plant as well is going to get that US FDA approval. It's a new plant, but it's going to get the approval. Right. So yeah, maybe that's the thing, that people now expect that all of these things will start getting sorted.
And there's a buzz of some tie-ups as well. I mean, you never know what actually materializes.
But that's the point, Praful. What do people, traders or investors, do with these stocks? Because these are beaten down on precisely those concerns, FDA concerns. Would you, as a fundamental analyst, recommend a buy, as risky as it may be, into any of these stocks?
So in terms of the worst that can happen to these stocks, I think it's already there. So Wockhardt, they have already Shikal Thana, their Wwatch plants already under the scanner. The only plant which remains now is Shendra, and that is also new approval. So I think in terms of the worst that can happen from the FDA, I think it's already there in the price. The same goes for Ranbaxy. They have, barring the Om Labs, which is there in the US, they have all their plants in India, which is under the FDA scanner. So I don't see any more negativity coming in from here on. But having said that, what will take the stock up in the near term, I don't see much triggers. But if you're taking a slightly longer term view, probably from a 2-3 years perspective, then I would definitely recommend entering these names, because the valuations are pretty okay now. So if you have a slightly longer term view, then it makes a lot of sense to enter now. But if you're thinking anything which is near term, I don't think so that anything major will materialize apart from Diovan, which is there in Ranbaxy.
What about Sun Pharma? I mean, there seem to be some inherent fears that there may be some, the FDA is going to target some of the other facilities in the near term. Would you be worried about that?
So usually FDA does not, superimpose the problems with one facility to the others. So I don't think so. It is linked in any way. Every facility is a independent inspection. But having said that, I think the reason why Sun Pharma is probably underperforming is because of competition in two of its key products, which contributes close to around 22-23% of their profits, which is Doxil and doxycycline. So J&J has resumed their supplies for Doxil, and I think that is one concern which is there in the street. They will start eating away the market again from Sun Pharma, and even in doxycycline we have seen higher competition entering in. So I think that is the concern, which I would probably be more worried about than the US FDA linking this problem with Karkhadi with other plants.
Praful, you guys have I believe, bullish outlook on Natco, and there is an event that happened which led Natco to fall down double digits. Now, what's the view currently on Natco Pharma?
So the view remains bullish. So what has happened essentially is the Supreme Court has agreed to review Teva's plea about Copexone's patent, which expires in September 2015. So earlier the generics were allowed to enter the market in May 2014. After the appeals court rejected Teva's plea. Now what happens in this case is probably Natco will go ahead and launch at risk. And if they do that, there can be various scenarios. So if they launch at risk and the Supreme Court gives a verdict in their favor, then actually this can be a blessing in disguise for them, and the positives would be even higher from Copexone. In case if they if they launch at risk and the Supreme Court decides against them, in that case they'll be liable for a penalty to Teva. And at the same time, they also go out of the market and relaunch the drug in September 2015. So that will give Teva more time to switch their patients from 20 mg to the 40 mg version. So I think that will erode the generic market. So overall, I mean, right now we are working with certain scenarios, but the view still remains pretty bullish. Even in the worst case scenario, we don't see we have taken off we have shaved off around 125 rupees, 124 rupees from the target price, and I don't see any more downside from there on. So view remains bullish. We are positive with a buy rating of with a target price of around 940 odd rupees.
Some of the other top picks within this basket?
So we are in the large caps. We are bullish on Lupin. The only issue that we see in Lupin is the technical issue, which is that FI limit not being high. So they are trying to increase that limit, but we don't know when that is going to happen. So I mean, if that is probably taken off, then I think fundamentally we remain pretty bullish on the pipeline, which is going to be materializing next 1 year. So they just recently launched Niaspan. They are expected to launch Glumeza, Ranagil, Yaz. So they have a very strong pipeline coming up in the next 1.5 years. So I think that the view is pretty bullish on Lupin. Even on Cadila, we believe it's a turnaround story now, given the fact that their US business has not been performing for the past 2-3 years, and now it's broken the jinx, and it's broken the $300 million yearly mark, which they were there doing. So last quarter we have seen a $25 million Q-on-Q jump, and I think that is going to continue because of the approvals that we received recently. So I think so we have been bullish on Cadila and Lupin for quite some time now, and the view remains the same now.
Praful, before we let you go, you've spoken about a few large caps and a Natco Pharma. Anything in the smaller, not too often spoken about pharma names that you have a positive view on?
So one stock we like is Marksans Pharma. I mean, we've not. I think it's so probably one of the concerns in the stock was their FCCBs, which they've very recently repaid. I think only $5 million. So out of $50 million, it's only $5 million which is remaining. Plus, they've also turned profitable. So I think that would be one name which we are positive on. We don't have coverage yet on that name.